The Rambam's Mishneh Torah codifies the physical operations of the sanctuary with absolute precision. Every action, dimension, and tool is cataloged. In Hilkot Kli HaMikdash, Chapter 1, he defines the exact inventory of liquid measuring vessels for the temple service. He rules there were exactly 7. These volumes range from the large hin down to the smallest measures, the half hin, third, quarter, log, half log, and quarter log. The Rambam lists the standard functions for these small measures. The quarter log measured water for the metzota and oil for the Nazir's offerings. The half log measured water for the sota and oil for the Toda breads. But immediately after listing these functions, he issues a strict caveat. He rules that these vessels were not consecrated because of those specific acts. To understand why the Rambam strips these rituals of their consecrating power, we must look past the final code and reverse engineer his logic through the foundational debates of Tractate Menachot, Folio 88. The Rambam's code suggests that a vessel's capacity is linked to its specific ritual origin. We have to track these measures through their development in the Talmud to identify that origin. The Gemara opens with a chronological debate. How do we establish an inventory of exactly 7 vessels? Rabbi Shimon presents a challenge. The full hin was used only once by Moshe to measure the original anointing oil, then hidden away. To maintain the count of 7, he proposes a dedicated 1.5 log vessel existed for the high priest's daily kavitin offering. The rabbis counter this. They argue the existing half-log container could simply be poured 3 times to reach the same volume. Rabbi Shimon answers the principle, Ze haklal haya bamikdash. This is the rule in the sanctuary. A vessel consecrated for one specific volume cannot be repurposed to measure a different volume. The math works, but the ritual integrity is lost. In the sanctuary, operational efficiency is subordinate to the requirement for dedicated functionality. Each vessel possesses an independent identity. The debate then shifts to Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, who argue over how this system of vessels was originally calibrated. This simulation shows burotzim, the overflow clinging to the vessel walls during a pour. Rabbi Yehuda argues for bottom-up calibration. He holds overflow is consecrated, so calibration starts with the smallest vessel and compounds upwards to include that residue. Conversely, Rabbi Meir argues for top-down calibration. He holds overflow is not consecrated. Calibration must start large and divide down, letting overflow fall away, preventing compounding errors. Adaye synthesizes this dispute by examining a verse describing the offerings of the tribal princes in Bamidbar, Shnehem le'im, both of them full. For Rabbi Yehuda, le'im means at least full. The vessel must reach its capacity, even if it allows for the extra volume of overflow. For Rabbi Meir, le'im requires absolute exactness. Every drop is calculated. These mathematical definitions set the physical boundaries of sanctity. A single drop determines whether the vessel meets its required standard. On Folio 88b, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi questions the origin of the vessels. He asks why the quarter and half-log measures were ever anointed as service vessels. This map reveals the problem with the quarter log's use for the Metzora. That purification happens outside the camp, and rituals outside the sacred boundaries don't require an anointed service vessel. The half-log faces a similar issue with the sota ritual. Its water is drawn directly from the wash basin. It is already holy and doesn't require a new vessel to consecrate it. For the Nazir and Toda breads, the offerings are sanctified by the sacrifice of the animal, not by the measuring of the oil. The Gemara resolves this through Rabbi Hia. He proves that the quarter log was anointed for the high priest's daily internal kavatin offering. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, provides the parallel conclusion. The half-log was anointed strictly to measure the oil for the menorah. A true service vessel derives its status from a core internal temple service. It does not become holy from an incidental or external rite. This brings us to the physical reality of the menorah and the practical necessity of that half-log vessel. Consider a scenario where a single lamp on the menorah extinguishes in the middle of the night. The remaining oil and the charred wick become ash and must be completely removed and discarded. This highlights Rav Yirmiya's question, why must the priest refill it with a brand new, full half-log? Why not just measure and replace the exact volume of oil that burned away? Rav Yirmiyah provides the logic. To replace only what was missing, the priest would have to calculate an unknown volume, requiring hundreds of custom-sized measuring cups for every possible oil level. Creating new ad hoc measures would violate the tradition of exactly 7 dedicated vessels. The priest must clear the lamp and use the dedicated half log. But this creates an engineering challenge. How do you clean the lamp if the entire menorah is beaten from one solid, unmovable piece of gold? Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Tzadok, identifies the solution: the toss. This was a gold plate, a tilting cover, that allowed the priest to clean out the ash without breaking the solid gold structure. The Meshech Chokmah notes that, unlike the table of showbread, the menorah's lamps were unified with its body. They required this specific engineering to function. Ultimately, the physical engineering of the menorah and the absolute mathematical boundaries of the vessels were perfectly, inextricably intertwined. We can now return to the text of the Mishneh Torah and see how the Rambam consolidated this Talmudic evidence into a pristine code. He sides with the rabbis, ruling that the original hin remained in the sanctuary to complete the inventory of 7. He simultaneously rules like Rabbi Meir, requiring exactness without allowing overflow to alter the volume. This resolves the initial paradox. By stating these vessels were not sanctified for these acts, the Rambam defines the source of temple consecration. He codifies Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi's conclusion: external acts cannot elevate a vessel's status. Only the essential labors of the sanctuary, the high priest's offering, and the light of the menorah possess the power to command a consecrated vessel. The Torah's approach to the sanctuary requires that both the mathematical volume and the spiritual purpose be absolutely exact.